Well, now it's got so this has got to be working.
Okay, looks like it's 7 o'clock. Everybody's here. I'll call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of January 11th, 2021. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Present.
Gerhardstein,
Here.
Jaworski,
Here.
Koski,
Here.
Levon,
Here.
Sakis,
Here.
Soloto.
Here.
Approval of council minutes. We're going to first need a motion to excuse Councilman Jaworski from the voting on the December 21st minutes.
I'll make a motion to allow Mr. Jaworski to abstain from the voting on the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Koski, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to allow Councilman Jaworski to abstain from the voting on the council minutes from December 21st, 2020. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes of December 21st.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Koski, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to approve the council meeting minutes of December 21st, 2020 as presented. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Abstain.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to abstain Councilman Jaworski from the organizational meeting minutes.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Bogo to allow Councilman Jaworski to abstain from the voting on the organizational meeting minutes of January 4th, 2021. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
And I'll make a
Motion, we
motion.
approve the council minutes from the organizational meeting in January 4th, 2021.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhard Stein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to approve the organizational meeting minutes of January 4th, 2021 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Abstain.
Kosky,
yes,
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the mayor, safety director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. Quick update from the health district. New COVID cases are obviously continuing, although they are staying low. Some data charts will show a backlogged antigen testing, which can be a little bit confusing and show a very large spike in cases in a short time frame. The past week in Lake County, new daily reported cases range from 143 to 257, which is 0.1% of the county population, just for example. And we're updated weekly on the mayors and managers calls as those continue every week. Chief Powers, along with other fire chiefs in the county, have been planning to assist the distribution of COVID vaccines from our fire station and a few other locations in the county when the timing is right. The county health district has been doing a great job. They simply don't have the manpower to execute something like this efficiently. Chief Powers can speak to more logistical details if the council wishes at this point, although things are still being worked out, and we'll update the community as plans develop. I know we had one in the past, maybe 10 years ago, but I'm outlining a storefront renovation grant program, which I'll discuss at the Finance Committee meeting next week, and I'll email details, or at least my thoughts of the outline to council beforehand. Residents on Homewood Drive will see the planting of Cleveland pear trees when repaving is complete, and those are the same trees that are on Euclid Avenue. As suggested by the service director, they grow quickly, aren't too invasive in the sewers. Finally, there's an upcoming blood drive at the Wickliffe High School in the gymnasium, Friday, January 29th. This one's just in the morning, 7:45 to 12:45. And I'm sure most folks know there's even more of a need for blood these days than there was before. I've given blood twice during the pandemic. Very easy process. They got everything spaced out, very, very clean. So I'd suggest sharing that if you can, or donating if you feel able to. And back to you, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments for the mayor, safety director? Thank you, Mayor. Reports, communications from the director of law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I do not have any report this evening.
Any questions for the law director? Thank you, Scott. Communications from the council president. I have none. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Councilman Sakis.
Yeah, I have two things under new business. A, if we could put Are You Okay program? And then new business B, Pete will speak on it as well, detention pond.
Okay, we will add Are You Okay program to new business A and detention basin to detention pond, I think you said, to new business B. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda?
Hi.
Councilwoman Saloto.
Yeah. I'd actually like to, and I was going to bring this up during the service director's report, but I'm thinking it might be more of a new business item. I just wanted to talk about the avenue in the summer, flowers on the avenue and the rose garden.
Okay, we will add flowers on the avenue / rose garden to new business C.
Thanks.
Any other items or additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, move on to the administrators. Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. COVID-19 sitting the police department pretty good right now. We have 6 people that are either have COVID or a family member has COVID. We're working our way through that. I've noticed over the last month or so, phone scams appear to be on the rise. I think our residents are getting wiser though. No, the recent complaints that we've gotten, nobody's actually giving their personal information. So just as a reminder, don't give any of your personal information, banking information, social security number, driver's license number, et cetera, out to anybody that you don't know. This past week, two former employees passed away. Frank Kutnar, who was a captain and retired in 1984, I think. He passed away, he was 93 years old. And then Bill Cox, age 68, passed away a couple of days ago. Personnel, we swore in Caitlin Peacock on the 6th. She went and took her police test today down in Columbus, and she's starting actually tomorrow morning. The other two candidates, Ryan Thomas and Ryan Bischoff, are making their way through the medical examination process. And hopefully next week I'll get together with the mayor. We'll be able to swear those two in. Just generically, some of the criminal activity that we've run across over the last couple of weeks. We had a kidnapping, domestic violence, drug trafficking, counterfeiting, 3 drunk driving arrests, weapons while under disability, improper transportation of firearms in a vehicle. That will conclude my report, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments from the police chief? Thank you, Chief. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. The new year starts us with a lot of new challenges this year. As the police chief mentioned, COVID is impacting all our city departments, and it's taken a toll. Despite what feels to be pretty safe, our ambulance continues to take COVID positive patients to the hospital every day, mostly seniors, and unfortunately, they're having a rough time with it. Tomorrow, I'm presenting a plan to the county chiefs on distribution to the level that hopefully, well, to the best we can do in the county with our staffing. Certainly, I'll need council support with the financial burden that's going to be placed upon us to do this. But I think the residents deserve us to be able to deliver a service that's much needed right now. My thought right now is within the next month or so, there'll be a plan to compensate the individual municipalities that contribute towards this. And then finally, some good news. The year 2021 starts the fire department off on delivering service to the community for over 100 years. That's pretty significant. And this department's been in place since 1921. And we're certainly appreciative of everyone that's come before us and served. And we're hoping to get some special events going in honor of the 100th anniversary later this year. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Councilwoman Koski. Sherry, you're on mute.
Okay. To say congratulations on the 100 years. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
That's all.
Any other questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I do not have any formal report tonight. I am still working on closing December, so I will have the financials out to you as soon as possible.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. One thing to possibly amend to my written report. I spoke with Ed May. He's the director of NOACA this afternoon, and they're considering pushing back the Ridge Road resurfacing project to the years 2024 or 2025. We're scheduling a meeting for later this month to talk with NOACA and ODOT to possibly make that happen. So I told him all the time that if I resurface Ridge Road before I do Lakeland Boulevard or Euclid Avenue, I think they'll probably hang me. So maybe this will save some skin here. That's all I have to add. Thank you.
Pete, shouldn't we do something with the bid project, the 2020 concrete pavement slab replacement program?
Sure we can. Forgot all about, oh, we want to talk about that now? I thought that came up during your, what comes up for legislation, but we can do that. So on December 18th, we opened bids for the 2020 concrete slab replacement project. We received 5 bids ranging from a low bid of $75,000 and to a bid of $79,777. The low bidder was A&J Cement Contractors at $75,385 even. The engineer's estimate was $87,000. So it came in low, which is great. It is our recommendation that they're qualified and experienced and they've done work in the city before. We have no problem with authorizing or recommending award to A&J Cement Contractors. This is a OPWC project that we're getting 50% funding. It's a $100,000 project, project cost, and we're getting 50% funding on this. Their bid amount is for less than what the construction budget is. So we're hoping that maybe later on we'll come back to council for a change order since we're getting 50 cents on the dollar in work, and maybe maximize that grant money that we're getting, but we'll get that later.
Thank you, Pete.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the bid of A&J Cement Contractor, Inc., 27900 Lakeland Boulevard, Euclid, Ohio, 44132, in the amount of $75,385 as the lowest bid, and reject all other bids.
Second.
Sorry, who seconded that? Okay, thank you. Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Garrett Stein to approve the bid of A&J Cement Contractors of 27900 Lakeland Boulevard, Euclid, Ohio, 44132. For the 2020 concrete, sorry, is that 2000? Yes, for the 2020 concrete pavement slab replacement program at a price not to exceed $75,385 as the most responsive, responsible, and best bid, and rejecting all others. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
yes,
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Is there anything else on your report, Mr. Formica?
There's nothing else. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, we're dealing with the several COVID issues in our department as well. My service superintendent is out with it. He got diagnosed last week. Just a few other things that I just wanted to touch on in my monthly report. That we did have a couple of big snow events in the month of December. We used roughly 600 tons of salt, which is close to a third of our allotted amount for the year. I still feel we're in good shape with salt, but I just wanted to at least let you know that we did use a lot. On that Christmas snow, it was almost 2 days straight, and we used a lot of salt. Our new hire service department employee did start today. Everything's going well. And one other thing I just wanted to touch on was that we did 351 initial dye tests plus a bunch of retests in 2020. That was one of the highest records on total the city's ever done. Just wanted to mention that, that's all. And that's concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for the service director? Councilman Garrett Stein.
We talked it last month, Ron, where the mayor said that you could hire another service worker on March 1st. When does that process need to start? So
yeah, I'll have to talk with the mayor. As long as he lets me start, I'll start looking in February again. And as long as he lets us hire him on March 1st. That employee, the additional employee is not in the temporary budget. So depending on when we have the full budget passed, that should not be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Jaworski.
Ron, when you talked about salt, how much delivery did we take earlier this year, and how much salt do we still have? Are we still able to order at this point in time?
Yeah, we started out the year with a full bin because last year we had trouble actually fitting it in the bin. So we started out with the bin, probably the most full that I've ever seen it. We ordered 250 tons in the month of December, and we're in good shape right now. We can handle a good few snowstorms before I have to order again. I did order 250 ton in December.
So then how much
So
more do we have
I
to
still have to
order?
have, yeah, 1,750 tons would be that's our 2,000 tons that we said we would order. I have to order at least 90% of that and not more than 110. So I
Okay,
have 1,750 tons left. We're in okay shape.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you, Ron.
And we also did, we cut down the amount of salt by 500 ton from what we got last year. But that was pretty much because of the budget and because we had this full salt bin, so we felt comfortable with doing that.
Any other questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. You should have received my 2020 building annual report. If there's any questions on that, please give me a buzz and we'll go over anything you'd like to go over. That's all I have for my.
Any questions or comments for the building commissioner? Councilman Jaworski. Matt, you're on mute.
Thank you, Ed. Ray, you had sent us an email, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the email. It was about city sphere being no more. Can you just was that the system that we switched to, or that we were leaving? I can't remember at this point in time.
It's the system that we switched to. They are no longer using that, or using that. They actually stopped that one section of their company, and we switched back to Franklin's system, our old system.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a challenge for Patty and I right now, but we'll get things straightened out on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the building commissioner? You're right. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. One comment to make. I've been working with the Lake County Mobile Food Pantry through Lake Tran. They're partnering with Avery Dennison, the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, the County Commissioners, and the Council on Aging. Lake Tran is going to fill up a couple of their buses on 3 days in January, February, and March, and bring food to seniors in need. We will be hosting that at our community center on this Thursday, January 14th, and February 11th and March 11th. You have to register for this program, so you can do that by calling 211, or you can have persons call the Council on Aging at 440-205-8111, and I think they'll get a pretty nice box of fresh produce and some other staples. So happy that's happening. That's it.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Tim. Economic Development Manager, Drake.
Thank you, Council President. We are awaiting word from Cleveland Foundation. I am hopeful that we'll hear in the next week to 2 weeks regarding whether we will receive a grant towards the redevelopment planning. We had initially applied through the Cuyahoga, Lake Cuyahoga program, and they recommended us over to a different program. So we're in the process of being reviewed there right now. And so I was looking at the time frame. I don't believe we will have word back by the time you guys have your finance committee meeting on Monday. So I just want to make you aware of it, that we might need to take a look at that at the meeting on the 25th, or to set up another meeting after after the 25th, or after we hear word back, depending on what you feel would be appropriate. Ed and rest of council and Mayor Barbish. Secondly, I do want to let you know, I continue to be in communication with representatives from a project that had been called, named Pisces. It's a warehouse distribution. They're looking at a building in Wickliffe in the industrial section. And so this would potentially bring us 97 jobs initially, and within 3 years, move to approximately 133 jobs as their projections. So I continue to assist them in questions and guide them where they need to go. Not a lot going on. They're going through due diligence to determine if this works and taking a look at their numbers. And once they have more data, they'll come back to us. I just want you to be aware it's a very exciting opportunity. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Councilwoman Saloto.
Maria, you're muted.
She knows.
There you are. Okay.
A little trouble with my little unmute. Hi, Monica. Thank you so much. So my first question really goes to the Cleveland Foundation potential grant. So is this going to be the same type of money that we were hoping to get previously that would pay for the other half of that economic development concept, or is this a much smaller amount?
It's 30,000 that we're looking at. They normally only fund 50% of projects. So we had reduced it down to $30,000 request of assistance.
Okay. All right. That's good. And we'll know in a couple of weeks. I mean, maybe Ed, I don't know, maybe we should think about postponing our meeting till after we know about that. That's just a suggestion. And then what's my other question? Oh, about Pisces. So can you just give us just and I know you have covered this before, but I don't remember. What type of company is it? What kind of, is it manufacturing? Is it?
It's wholesale distribution with also a retail component to it. The retail component is not a primary, it's a secondary type of use that you, it's a small area where people can go in and maybe pick up something that they needed of the product that they use. Kind of like what is it? The Hewlett Packard. Wait, I'm sorry. Oh, up on Lakeland Boulevard. Sorry, it popped right out of my head. Anyways, it's not the primary focus of the business. The business primary use and responsibility is receiving in large quantities of product, breaking them down for distribution and distributing them to the local market and as far away as Pittsburgh. So, and they're looking at consolidating a business. There's one currently in the region. They're looking at pulling together different different locations into one location. They're also looking at exploring Pittsburgh. So I'm hopeful that, but this facility seems to fit their needs. And so I'm hopeful that as they put the numbers together, they're working through some of their due diligence. And once they have that information, they'll come back to us, and then Mayor Barbish and I'll set up meetings with them. And we'll go through and take a look at where they are. And I've already made some of the our state legislators aware of the fact that they might need assistance from Jobs Ohio, just so it's on their radar. Help keep this business in Ohio rather than leaving the state and bringing this business to Wickliffe. So.
Okay, and we're not competing against other area cities for this particular.
My understanding is that they had looked around the region previously, then they went and then they were pretty far along out of the state, and then this property became available, and so now they're looking very seriously at this property.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Thank you, Monica. I will now open the floor for audience participation. This portion of the meeting is intended for the audience to address the council and mayor, not the directors. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please state your name and address for the clerk's record. Each person will have a 5-minute maximum amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Mr. List.
Jim List, 29717 Arthur Avenue. I'm glad I'm seeing more police on the street going after the speeders. So I'm complimenting the police chief. It's good to see.
Is that it, sir?
That's
Thank
it.
you very much. Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Any committee reports? Commission reports? Seeing no old business, I'll move on to new business. New business A, Are You OK program, Councilman Sakis.
Okay, so I was talking with the councilman from Strongsville. He's trying to get this program done there, and it's very successful in North Olmsted. And we have one of the largest senior base in Lake County. And what this is so for seniors who live alone, either they can register or their family member can register them, and they would get a automated phone call once a day at the time they sign up for. And then if they don't answer, a call back in 20 minutes. If they do answer, they just pick up, hang up. And then if they don't answer on the second call, it goes to next of kin and then to the police department. And the reason for this is just to do a welfare check. And there's been many instances where somebody, unfortunately, if they pass away and if they live alone, and it's just a great program I think we could offer. So I just wanted to put that in a committee to talk about. I don't know what committee to put it in. There's a little bit more to it. I'm going to meet with the councilman in a couple weeks to go over everything. But it goes to the fact that if a policeman were to go over there and no one answer the door, if they sign up for this, if there's grants we could look into for those Knox boxes or something, maybe just to make them feel a little bit more at ease. So would that be committee of the whole or something that we could discuss?
Absolutely, Joe. I will put this in the committee. I think committee of the whole is the proper place for it to go. So we'll add that to committee of the whole.
And hey, guys, as a quick heads up, I instructed Jerry well, she had already sort of had the volunteers ready, but they started, I think on December 15th or 18th, they started callings on some of the seniors. Just again, for the same reason, Joe, the welfare checks, as you know, I think they were calling on folks, didn't get a call back, called several times and did a welfare check, and the person was having cardiac arrest. They were unresponsive. So definitely once you get more info on like what system they use or how we can do that, or check with Jerry on that.
But of course,
Mr. Liz, can you mute yourself?
So anyways, Gary's already got some volunteers to help make actual phone calls. Sandy, can you mute this guy? Anyways, that's all I got.
No, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm going to go out there, and the guy that runs it in North Olmsted, the councilman in Strongsville is a North Olmsted police officer. So he's going to give me the rundown, the system they use, what grants they got for these Knox boxes and things like that. But I mean, he was raving about it. He's trying to get it done in Strongsville, and it's taken a while, but it's a little bit bigger than us. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Again, we'll add that Are You OK program to the committee of the whole, and then we'll call a meeting once Councilman Sakis has more details. Okay, move on to new business B, detention pond, Councilman Sakis.
Okay, so me and Pete, I just wanted to know, and I know that the mayor's checked into all developed property. I was going by that Talmadge extension, about when we were discussing maybe the gardens go there. And then I was talking with Councilman Gahardstein, and I was like, I wonder why we can't put a row of houses up there. There was so much land, and obviously that's been explored in the past. But Pete was saying his, ideal thing to go in there would be because of the flooding in North Wickliffe. to have a detention pond, or I believe I'm saying that correctly, and to kind of run off to help with the flooding. I know Wickliffe would be involved, but Pete, if you're able to speak a little bit on this, do we put this in committee?
Sure, Councilman. Yeah, that's always kind of been on the back burner, thinking that, how do we solve some of the flow problems that we have, the peak flow of a 100-year storm coming through the city. It all ends up obviously downhill, and it ends up, in the Warden area, northern Warden area. And the thought was, back in 2013, when we got flooded pretty hard, looked at that and said, gee, I put some rough numbers together and said, gee, if we built a detention basin here someday, maybe we could, do this as a shared project with the city of Wickliffe and possibly, eliminate flooding or reduce flooding. Never say eliminate, severely reduce the flooding potential on the north side. And basically we for detention basin's a giant bathtub. Okay, you just want to you dump all the water into it, and you got a drain, and it trickles out, so that and we size it like that so that it would be a benefit to Wickliffe, because they've got a 84-inch diameter pipe that runs down Fairway, which, by the way, is starting to fail and collapse in different areas. I met with their city engineer last week, and they're coming up with some costs and doing some televising and kind of hoping that maybe Wickliffe will want to help them out doing that. So maybe this is a hand-in-hand type thing. I'll have more on that later, but yeah. So back in 2013, I just dug up the old estimate. No pun intended. We've got, I had projected, and this was really rough, almost a $2.6 million project to dig a hole. I mean, that's where it was like, holy cow, that's a big chunk of change. But since then, even like last summer when NOACA was asking for our 30-year plan of potential big projects, I put it on there. I put a project on, along with this new salt structure and resurfacing all of our main roads and everything else. I put on there a north side detention basin, and obviously prorated that 2.6 million to even higher into 2035. The year 2035, it'll cost 3.4 million. But obviously those numbers need to be touched up and looked at and everything else. But something to talk about in committee if you'd like. It's
Should
Uh,
just
we put it in now, Ed, or should we wait until maybe we get,
We can put it in the committee, and then Pete can look at the numbers. I mean, if he has numbers, and we can always put it in the finance committee and look at them.
obviously we would want to ask for funding from
Yeah.
various sources to be able to help soften the blow.
Okay, figure we start talking about it now, though. That is an important thing, I believe, so.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree, Councilman Sakis. I do remember talking about this in 2013. I'm sure Sherry does too, but yeah, that number was eye-opening, especially at a time when we had negative, or our budgets were in the red, not in the black. So it wasn't a good time to do it then, but who knows what our future is going to be like if we get some grants. But we can absolutely put that in the finance committee, and then whenever Pete has his numbers, he can present it.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, move on to new business C, Flowers on the Avenue, Rose Garden, Councilwoman Sloto.
Thank you so much, guys. And again, as I mentioned before, I was going to bring this up, during Ron's little section here, but I have read some really kind of sad letters from some of our volunteers last year, namely our top two volunteers, John and Mary. I think the last name is Haydes. I'm not quite sure if that's how it's pronounced, but they just did such an amazing job. They planted all the flowers. They tended to all the flowers. They watered all the flowers on the avenue every single morning without any help at all, which meant that they had to fill, big gallons and take them in their car. And I mean, they're a wonderful, retired couple, but it was really so much to ask of them. And we didn't really offer them any help. And I know the Rose Garden really suffered last year too. It didn't look so good. I mean, this is kind of this is something that we truly do to, honor, those that have come before us in the city. And, it looked terrible. So I know it was a rough summer for everybody. And I guess, basically I do sit on the Keep Wickliffe Beautiful committee. Obviously, I'm the council representative for that committee, and I want to support them. I was terrible last summer. I mean, I had surgery. I couldn't do it. It was COVID. I think everybody got caught up in that, but that doesn't change the fact that there is just, a need for our city to look good, especially in 2021. I think we really want to, just have an uplifting. We're looking at economic development. We're looking at doing all these things, but, we've got to support the people, our volunteers. But then I'm thinking, can we support them even a little more with respect to watering or with respect to something in addition to, just it's brutal to have to go and water things every single day in the summer. So I'm wondering, can we have the service department maybe go down the street and water? I mean, just spray along the avenue in the mornings, or is there anything we can do to support the volunteers, even with the watering them itself? And I don't know, Ron, I mean, is there a cost to that? I mean, is there time to do that?
Yeah, so here's basically what happened last year was we always usually have, 4 part-timers in the summertime, and they're normally the ones, unless I get really busy, the part-timers get busy. Sometimes I send my full-timers with a sewer jet because that's the most effective, fastest way to do it. But I'm also paying full-timers to do that. So we have a watering tank trailer and a pickup truck that we usually have the part-timers do that. Last year we had no part-timers because the mayor, with COVID and everything going on, the mayor did not allow me to hire any part-timers. Just because there was so much other unknowns at the time, and then we went to, staggered work shifts and all that other kind of stuff. So we did not have any part-timers. And so what happened was those volunteers did a fantastic job. The flowers on the avenue look the best that I've seen in years, in many, many years. So I did talk to him. I told him, I said, hey, because they were doing it every day. So I didn't know when they didn't do it. So I did go and tell him, I said, hey, if you're going to be on vacation or anything like that, please let Chris or myself know. So I would have taken care of it when he was on vacation. And then I actually went to him. I went to Chris and I got the guy's number and I called and I left the guy 3 messages because I wanted to put I wanted to put a little article in the connection for him because he did such a fantastic job. I'm telling you, the flowers were beautiful. And they did a ton of work. He was out there every day, just like you said. So I wanted to put an article in the connection for him. Well, I left 3 messages on his phone. They never called me back. So I got a little bit hesitant. I thought, well, maybe he didn't want any recognition. So that was my concern with that. You know what I mean? That's why we didn't really do it. I actually took pictures. I gave them to Sandy. Sandy had them. And then I don't know if at the time too, you can even ask Sandy if you want, but I don't know if they edited it out because of, didn't have enough room or whatever, but we were going to actually put in a thing in the connection for that guy. And that's why I said, that's why I think he was upset because he didn't get that recognition after I called him on it, and like I said, because I never got a response from him, I was concerned that he might not have wanted it, So, but yeah, I don't have a problem as long as, and I mean, we have part-timers. Actually, we increased the part-time budget a little bit in the budget this year. So as long as that goes through, I don't have a problem with us watering them. I can guarantee you one thing: we aren't going to be able to do as good of a job they did. They weeded every little one, every weed that came in and everything. They took care of everything. There is one gentleman who does the ones under the bridges, and he's been taken care of for years. He doesn't want us to water them. He said, because I don't want you to overwater them. I mean, he was very, they get very, compulsive when they get to their flowers. Now the guy on the avenue, I didn't talk to him many times, so I do feel really bad that he felt slighted. So we certainly can help him out. That's absolutely not a problem.
I mean, I'm not sure he felt slighted as much as he just felt like, the city is not appreciating what really needs to be done to have the flowers look great. And I think if we can just focus on, number one, recognizing the people that do help us, and that's on me. I mean, I should have put something in the connection. We should have done that. And I think we get more volunteers if we were able to, sort of make people aware of what needs to be done. Because I have to be honest, I wasn't really aware that somebody actually has to go to every one of these spots every day.
They do, yeah. So, and actually, the other
But I
thing was,
kill
I mean,
everything, so I kill everything. So
we had Patty Fowler, we had her, she did a lot better, of giving the
Yeah, a lot of
accolades out and stuff like that. She was a full-time employee that, she had time to do that stuff. Chris Malachik is doing a fantastic job considering the fact that he doesn't get paid for anything, you know what I mean? So I do give my props off to Chris too, I mean, he has a full-time job that he has to take care of. I understand that, he has his hands full too, so just with, cutting out that position in the city, it doesn't get taken care of like it used to. And the same with the Rose Garden. I mean, we get up there when we can. And like I said, especially last year, my full-timers were emptying all the garbages in the parks that were open and things like that. So we got up there when we could. Yeah, they weren't maintained as they have been in the past, but in the past, when Patty Fowler was here, man, she saw some weeds out there. She'd make sure we took care of it,
right. So I guess I'm asking
volunteers. So
resources now. I mean, do we have the resources now to do a better job as a city?
I mean, well, if the mayor lets us hire another guy in here in March and we hire our part-timers, I feel we'll be able to certainly do. I mean, we don't have 32 guys like we ever did, I mean, like we used to. We're never going to have that again.
Right.
There was a time years ago that there was one employee, he was dedicated to just taking care of City Hall. I mean, he pretty much took care of the grounds up there at City Hall all summer long. So that we're never going to get back to that, but we'll do the best job we can. I can promise you that,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Councilman Garrett Stein.
Hey, Ron, just to clarify, the gentleman you're talking about doing the pots on Lloyd Road, that's the same gentleman that watered the flowers on Euclid Avenue.
I think there's one on Warden. I'm not sure. I think it's a different person that does the ones under Warden Road, I
Okay,
believe.
I'm talking about the Lloyd Road Bridge and Euclid Avenue.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
same gentleman that does
Okay.
that.
Well, okay.
He sent Maria and I an email over the weekend. Does 44 pots that he took care of every day. I talked to him when he would be on the corner where I'm at in the mornings. He's out there 6 o'clock, 6:30 every day watering flowers.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him a couple of times. I turned on the water for him over at the Liberty Gardens, and I also turned on, told him he could use the spigot at the back of, the Provo House. But yeah, absolutely, they're bucketing water and everything like that. I understand.
I offered him a water spigot at the shop because
Yeah.
the guy would go home to get water and come back.
Right, and then we turned it on. I wasn't unaware of that, and then I turned it on over at Liberty Gardens and the Provo House. So he had a place to go.
He did a lot of
Like
work,
I
that
said,
gentleman.
he did a ton of work. He was out there all the time. I drive up and down the avenue every day, and I saw him almost every day. So I do feel bad because he deserves some recognition.
And that is my point too. I mean, one individual doing the work of a full-time person needs not only recognition, but we need to realize that, we need to dedicate a little more in the way of community, city resources toward such a big job. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, okay, I understand. If I have the manpower, I will.
Thank you.
Ron.
Okay, then that ends the new business. Move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2021-01, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Benson.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Garrett Stein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2021-01 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilwoman Kosky to adopt ordinance 2021-01 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-02, an ordinance levying an assessment for unpaid bills and costs of cutting noxious or poisonous weeds, vines, tree limbs, or grasses growing upon parcels of land in the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Benson.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Gerardstein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2021-02 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
yes,
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to adopt ordinance 2021-02 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
yes,
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Seeing no resolutions, we'll move on to other legislation. Miscellaneous. I will call for a finance meeting on January 18th at 7 p.m. to discuss the 2021 budget and the review of the RFPs. I know you mentioned earlier, Maria, about maybe postponing. I think we'll just meet on it, and if the committee decides to table it until we get that grant or based on that grant, then we can do that. But let's at least talk about it again and get some more on that, if you don't mind. Any other miscellaneous? If not, we just need a motion for adjournment.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilman Bogo to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
All right, thank you, guys. See you next week.
Next week.
Guys.